The beginning of the call, Noah invites his people. Our story begins in ancient times, when humanity had strayed from the worship of the one God, and had taken idols as deities to be worshipped instead of God. In this era, God sent his prophet Noah, peace be upon him, to his people, to invite them to monotheism and warn them of God's punishment if they did not return. Noah was a wise, patient man of great character. He began his call with gentleness and love, addressing his people, "O my people, worship God, you have no other God than him. Indeed, I fear for you the punishment of a tremendous day." He called them day and night, secretly and openly, by all possible means. He went to them in their gatherings, in their markets, and everywhere they gathered. He explained to them the greatness of the Creator and the futility of worshipping idols that could neither harm nor benefit. Challenges of the call and stubbornness. But Noah's people were arrogant and stubborn. Every time Noah called them, they increased in disbelief and obstinacy. They mocked him, ridiculed him, and accused him of madness and lies. They said, "We do not see you but as a human like us, and we do not see anyone following you except the lowest among us, at first glance. And we do not see that you have any superiority over us, rather, we think you are liars." They put their fingers in their ears so they wouldn't hear his call and covered themselves with their garments to avoid seeing him. Hundreds of years passed, and Noah, peace be upon him, spent 950 years calling his people, generation after generation. Despite all this long period, very few believed with him, and most of them were the weak and the poor. Noah's faith did not waver, and he did not lose hope in his Lord's mercy. But in the end, after long patience, he realized that his people would not believe. Despair of the people and Noah's supplication. After this long period of continuous calling and persistent stubbornness, Noah realized that there was no hope for these people to believe. They had closed their hearts and minds, and insisted on disbelief and polytheism. Then, Noah raised his hands to the sky and made a sorrowful supplication to his Lord, "My Lord, do not leave upon the earth from among the disbelievers any inhabitant. Indeed, if you leave them, they will mislead your servants and will not beget except wicked, ungrateful offspring." God answered his prophet's prayer, for the oppression had reached its peak, and there was no longer any hope for their reform. The divine command and the building of the ark. God revealed to Noah, peace be upon him, a great and astonishing command, to build an ark. This ark was not ordinary, it was extremely huge and unfamiliar in that era, especially since Noah and his people lived far from large seas and rivers. The command seemed impossible and illogical in the eyes of his people. Noah, peace be upon him, began building the ark in a barren desert, far from any body of water. He and those who believed with him worked hard, gathering and cutting wood, and making its planks. His people would pass by him as he worked, mocking him severely, "O Noah, have you become a carpenter after being a prophet? Or will you sail your ark in the desert?" They laughed and ridiculed him, but Noah replied with confidence, "If you ridicule us, then we will ridicule you just as you ridicule us. And you will know to whom will come a punishment that will disgrace him and upon whom will descend an enduring punishment." Building the ark was a huge and arduous task, which took a long time, but Noah and those with him worked with full faith and certainty in God's command. Signs of the great flood. After the ark was completed, the divine command came to Noah, until when our command came and the oven overflowed. The overflowing of the oven was the sign of the beginning of the great flood. It is narrated that the oven was a well-known place in Noah's house, or that it was a sudden spring of water that began to erupt powerfully. With the overflowing of the oven, the sky began to rain torrentially as history had never witnessed. It was not just ordinary rain, it was as if the gates of the heavens had been opened with pouring water. At the same time, the earth burst forth with springs, and water gushed out from everywhere, from beneath the earth, from rocks, and from every crack. Boarding the ark and the salvation of the believers. God commanded Noah to carry on the ark from each pair two, male and female, from all living creatures on earth. He also commanded him to carry his family, except for those upon whom God had decreed destruction, and to carry the believers who had followed him. Animals and pairs of every kind gathered and entered the ark by God's command. Then Noah and those who believed with him entered. These were critical moments, as the water rose higher and higher, and the waves crashed. The flood and the cry of the disobedient son as the ark floated on the water, the waves rose like mountains. In this critical moment, Noah saw his son Canaan, or Yam, trying to save himself on a high mountain. Noah called him with a father's tenderness, "O my son, embark with us and do not be with the disbelievers." But the rebellious son, who refused to believe, replied arrogantly, "I will take refuge on a mountain that will protect me from the water." He thought the mountain would protect him from God's decree. Noah replied with sadness, "There is no protector today from the decree of God except for whom he has mercy." And it was but moments until a huge wave separated them, and the son drowned with the drowned. It was a painful moment for Noah, but he knew that this was God's just decree. The destruction of the disbelievers and the end of the flood continued for days and nights, until it covered everything on the face of the earth. No place remained untouched by water. All the disbelievers who rejected Noah's call perished, and the earth was cleansed of their impurity. This was the end of a generation of tyrants and stubborn ones. After God's decree was fulfilled, the divine command came to the sky to withhold its rain, and to the earth to swallow its water, and it was said, "O earth, swallow your water, and O sky, withhold your rain." And the water subsided, and the matter was accomplished, and the ark rested on Al-Judi. Mount Judi is the mountain on which Noah's ark settled. The return of life and a new beginning after the water subsided and the ark rested on Al-Judi, Noah and those with him disembarked from the ark. The earth had changed completely, it had been cleansed by the waters, and life began anew. Noah and his companions descended to the earth and began to build a new life, based on monotheism and the worship of God alone. From the descendants of Noah, peace be upon him, humans returned to populate the earth. His sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth were the origin of humanity that spread after the flood. Lessons and morals from the story of Noah. The story of Prophet Noah, peace be upon him, is one of the greatest stories in the Quran, and it carries many lessons and morals. Patience and steadfastness in truth. Despite the long duration of his call and the stubbornness of his people, Noah, peace be upon him, did not despair. Consequences of disbelief and stubbornness. The story shows the consequences of rejecting God's signs and being arrogant toward